From South Carolina Public Radio, this is the South Carolina Lede. I'm your host, Gavin Jackson, and this episode was recorded on November 7th, 2025 from South Carolina Public Radio Studios here in Columbia. On this episode of The Lede, we have election night results for a handful of state house races, and we continue our look at the ramifications of the federal government shutdown and hear from Republican Congressman Russell Fry and Senator Lindsey Graham. We continue to look at the ramifications of other federal decisions, including tariffs.
Interesting.
And soybeans. Maayan Schechter reports how that impacts South Carolina farmers. And Congresswoman Nancy Mace is suing the Charleston International Airport as local leaders rally around it. And we have more Mace news with an ethics complaint being filed against her. You can file a dispatch with us at 803-563-7169. Let us know what you're up to. Maybe you're also sailing around the world, or you're just bouncing around the United States. Maybe you're stuck in an airport somewhere or you can't get to where you're going. Give us a shout, 803-563-7169. It's the season of giving thanks. All right, let's look at Election Day results from Tuesday, when it was municipal election day. But there were a handful of state house races that I want to recap for you.
Okay.
Actually, Maayan Schechter will do that for you.
All right.
In fact, she reported about that on scpublicradio.org. And the first race we're looking at is the House District 88, where John Lastinger will be the Republican nominee after the pastor won a runoff for this Lexington County seat. Lastinger will face Democrat J. Chuck Hightower, a U.S. Army veteran, in the December 23rd general election. This is the district that disgraced former Representative R.J. May represented before. Diane Mitchell, a former teacher and former president of the Greenville Republican Women's Club, won the House District 21 runoff against Steve Nail, the dean of Anderson University's College of Business and Economics. Now, there is no Democrat in this race, so Mitchell succeeds former Representative Bobby Cox, who resigned his seat to run for the Senate, but later announced that he would not run. And Sonia Ogletree-Satani will be the Democratic nominee in a January special election to succeed former Republican State Representative Chris Murphy in that House District 98 race. Ogletree-Satani is an entrepreneur and Air Force veteran and won 57% of the vote in a three-way race. On the Republican side, the race is headed to a runoff after none of the candidates won more than 50% of the vote. Businessman Brian Hill won 43% of the vote and will face Air Force veteran Greg Ford, who won 39% of the vote in a November 18th runoff. A lot of Air Force in this race. We're going to see what happens in that special election on January 6th. Next up, it is day 38 of the federal government shutdown with no end in sight. I hope you didn't lose any money on your play market bets there, bro. In fact, there are just more ramifications from this most intense gridlock to visit Congress ever, I think we can say. A lot of history happening every day around here. And there are plenty of federal government employees who are working or furloughed without pay. So it's been 38 days now working for free. I don't know how long I would go for. Good question. No, I'll ask my brothers, I guess. However, 7th District Republican Representative Russell Fry participated in a press conference with House leadership and House Speaker Mike Johnson on Tuesday. He shared several anecdotes from folks back home in the district, which encompasses the PD and the Grand Strand, and he continued to point the blame at Senate Democrats, who refused to vote for the continuing resolution to fund the government until there is a compromise on what to do with expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies. Here's Fry.
They're holding the government hostage at the expense of the American people. I talked to a U.S. Marshal yesterday in the district in South Carolina. He is door dashing food and driving Ubers to pay his mortgage, to pay and feed his kids. I talked to a lady, single mother in Clio, South Carolina, last night. She receives food stamps. She's 100% disabled. She's unable to work. She relies on that assistance. And she is fearful about how she's going to feed her kids. She's traveling all the way into North Carolina to receive charitable contributions of food. That is the result of a Democrat shutdown. I talked to an elderly lady in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina yesterday. She has diabetes. She has shingles. She is unable to work. She is elderly. She needs that $88 to help bridge the gap at the end of the month so that she can eat. And she's fearful of what's going to happen next with this prolonged shutdown. For these people, these benefits are not a luxury, they're a lifeline. And it shouldn't take courage from them to band together and figure out how they're going to feed themselves. It should take leadership from the United States Senate to act and end this political charade. But that's what they want. They've told you from the beginning what this is all about. It's about leverage to them.
Senator Lindsey Graham spoke on the Senate floor Friday before another vote on a new continuing resolution that Democrats likely will reject, as it does not include expanding those subsidies.
There's a group of my Democratic colleagues who believe every day gets better for us. That's Senator Schumer. They, I guess, apparently feel emboldened by the election. The question I have for the country is every day getting better for you? If you're trying to get to an airport or fly somewhere, I would say not so much. If you're a government employee working, not getting paid, not so much. There are a lot of services that are being disrupted out there because the government shut down. And truth of the matter is both parties have had government shutdowns trying to get a policy win. You know, one time we shut the government down as Republicans to get money to build the wall. We eventually got money to build the wall because it was a very good idea, but it didn't happen through the shutdown. And so I learned that shutting the government down to try to get a policy win is probably not good government. And our Democratic friends, whatever day it is, they're shutting your government down, our government down, to try to make Republicans do something on health care we're just not going to do. They're trying to repeal elements of the working family tax cut, big beautiful bill, whatever you want to call it, that would prohibit health care funding going to illegal immigrants. They're trying to repeal many of the things that we think are just good reforms, over $1 trillion, pulling back $1.5 trillion to go in programs we think that are not good investments.
Illegal immigrants do not receive direct benefits from those subsidies, but hospitals do receive emergency Medicaid funding, which is a program that offsets hospital costs for providing required emergency care for immigrants that don't have the status to obtain Medicaid. The strains continue from the government shutdown, and they're only getting worse. Now, the Department of Transportation is ordering airlines to reduce flights by 10% to reduce air traffic at 40 major airports, citing air safety concerns and staffing. The move led to upwards of 2,000 cancellations on Friday, according to the BBC. There are 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 TSA agents that are working without pay right now. Again, I don't know how long it would go, but none of the 40 airports that had to see a reduction in traffic were in South Carolina, but they are close by, including Charlotte and Atlanta. The state is feeling the ripple effects. Let's go take a look at the numbers here. And by the numbers, I'm talking about departure boards for the 6 commercial airports across the state. And early Friday afternoon, I found 11 flight cancellations. Now, I mean, we're going to generalize here and say that these are related to this problem because all these flights are going to airports that are under restrictions. In fact, 6 of those were American Airlines flights to Charlotte. 2 are Spirit Airlines flights to Newark, New Jersey.
How you doing?
Ugh, could you imagine? Cancel all the flights, ask me.
Oh!
yeah, you can print it. 2 Delta flights to Atlanta and 1 to LaGuardia. That's in New York.
The gabagool.
As well as 1 United Airlines flight to Dulles and 1 American flight to Washington Reagan National. So that's 11 flights in total that were canceled on Friday. Again, since it is a beautiful day here that is not weather related, and all these flights are tied to that DOT order to reduce air traffic to those 40 airports. Sticking with the shutdown. On the SNAP benefits front, a federal judge ordered the Trump administration to pay the November benefits in full by Friday. The administration has asked an appeals court to intervene on U.S. District Court Judge John McConnell's order. This comes after 2 other federal judges ordered the administration to use emergency funds to provide food assistance that 42 million Americans and 560,000 South Carolinians rely on. SNAP payments typically cost $8 billion a month. Let's continue to look at how sweeping federal decisions have impacted our state. And I'm not talking about people necessarily, but soybeans.
Excuse me?
This week, the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments Wednesday over the legality of the president's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to implement broad tariffs on the basis of a state of emergency. His declared state of emergencies were for drug overdoses from the synthetic opioid fentanyl and trade imbalances. You're saying, Gavin, okay, soybeans, how, what? We're getting there, okay?
Okay.
The result has been international trade confusion that has led to a wait-and-see approach by many companies and countries when it comes to big investment decisions within and with the United States. But for farmers, once they plant their crop, such as soybeans, told you, they're at the whim of global markets unless they lock in prices early. With the trade wars ongoing among adversaries and allies alike, China, the biggest importer of American soybeans, looked to other countries like Brazil and Argentina for the high-protein crop due to the sky-high tariffs Trump has haphazardly applied and also removed. It's called retaliatory actions. You're going to tariff me? Great. I'm going to go to Argentina and Brazil to get my soybeans. I don't owe the American farmer anything. That's China's thinking, not my thinking. I owe everything to the American farmer. Now you're saying, Gavin, enough of your story. And I'm saying, yes, I hear you. Maayan Schechter, yes, with South Carolina Public Radio, gives us this look at the interconnectedness, some would say globalization, of soybeans, South Carolina farmers, and global trade.
It's a chilly, foggy morning in Allendale County, almost a 2-hour drive outside of South Carolina's capital city. Here, for miles, farms line the 2-lane road, cotton, corn, peanuts, wheat, soybeans, and other crops. On the more than 2,200-acre Sharp & Sharp certified seed farm, it's business as usual. As Rachel Sharp watches as workers use what looks like an industrial-sized washer to clean seeds, a loud process that Sharp says separates the crop from the trash.
By trashy, I mean like a lot of dust, a lot of extra stuff that you wouldn't need.
Sharp did not plan to become a farmer before joining her dad, Don, on the family farm started by her grandfather in 1947. She has, well, grown to love it, but she also doesn't want to sugarcoat it. It's been a hard year or years for South Carolina's farmers, from market volatility to tariffs and drought.
It's tough right now. Like, the majority of what you hear is probably not an over-exaggeration. Like I said, everything is sky high except prices. And so you're paying more to grow them, to ship them.
Sharp is talking about soybeans, one of the top crops their farm harvests, a process that begins now. Soybeans are a top commodity in the state and a top export. The crop last year alone accounted for 380,000 harvested acres in South Carolina. That's almost 13 million bushels, worth more than $138 million. But farmers who harvest the crop that's used in crayons, feed and food, oil, tires, and plastic have been bruised this year. First, the Archer Daniels Midland plant, or ADM, the sole soybean crush plant in the entire state, closed in the town of Kershaw in Lancaster County, forcing farmers to find out-of-state and, for many, more logistically taxing alternatives. A month later, in an even greater punch, the globe's largest soybean importer, China, stopped buying U.S. soybeans altogether, a response to tariffs levied by the Trump administration. Instead, China looked to Argentina and Brazil. The administration now says China has committed to buying millions of metric tons of U.S. soybeans for the next several years. The Associated Press reports that the 12 million metric tons China says it will buy through January is about half the usual annual volume. And the administration is reportedly readying to roll out an aid package for impacted farmers, helping to ease the financial toll. But the months-long damage may have been done, says Sharp, who advocates for farmers like herself through the South Carolina Corn and Soybean Association. Sharp says farmers are tired.
Soybean farmers, we don't want a package. I mean, it's nice in that it puts a Band-Aid on a bullet hole, if that makes sense, but we want the market. The market needs to be open. The market needs to be there for us. That's how we want to make our living, not off of government funds or handouts is what some people would call them. It helps, and I'm not saying that I'm not grateful for them, because we are, and it does help get us through, but that's not sustainable for South Carolina, for any soybean farmer.
For years, trucks carrying soybeans were part of daily life in the town of Kershaw, a typical small South Carolina town where textile mills were once king. Beyond the location of the state prison and the gold mine a few miles up the road, Kershaw residents knew the impact of the ADM crush plant.
Now you get the feel for it. I go by, I feel like I'm going to a funeral.
That's Mark Dorman, the longtime mayor of the town of Kershaw. Dorman has lived in Kershaw all his life. He said ADM's closure was a shock to the town that many still have not accepted. Around 40 people lost their jobs. It was also a large water and sewer revenue source for Kershaw.
But back in the day, it was vibrant. I mean, it was people everywhere, and it was running, and everybody knew it. That's a big loss for us.
There are still soybean crush plants across state lines, says Bennett Harrelson, who with his father and brother farmed their 140-acre property in Rembert near the Sumter-Kershaw County line. But with that, he says,
there's a lot of logistics, and trucking is not cheap.
And farmers are still on the hook for that, explains Harrelson, who is also the executive director of the South Carolina Corn and Soybean Boards and the Corn and Soybean Association. With farmers in the lurch after ADM's exit, many found some reprieve when the State Ports Authority, the state's agriculture department, and private businesses identified new markets to export more than 3 million bushels of soybeans, using more than 2,800 export containers between May and August. Harrelson says it's a welcome move through a vital state asset. But he adds it's resulted in more questions and some concern from farmers about the future logistics of moving millions of soybeans through the reality of one of the most congested parts of the state.
A lot of these farms are multi-generational. A lot of times when I go out and visit people's farms, you've got granddaddy, daddy, and son all working together on the farm. Very unique in, our world is to have multi-generation people still working together, and that's the farm. And so we're trying to do everything we can to, advocate for those, for our fellow farmers to, show that, hey, we need some kind of life raft to be able to get us to next year, get us to the end of this trade war, allow these markets to open back up, allow these prices to go back to, where we can start, generating a consistent return. And there's always been, storms in any line of business, and we're just doing everything we can to try to weather this one that we're in currently.
State Senator Russell Ott, a Calhoun Democrat who farms and also harvests soybean crop, said how to weather it, short and long term, is the question.
You lose farmers every year, but this has been an issue that we've been dealing with and fighting for the last several years, where the input costs are far outpacing the price that you're getting for the finished product.
Ott says short-term, the legislature will likely need to step in to help mitigate what he said should not be a partisan issue. But will they is the better question, he says. Long-term, Ott says,
we're going to have to increase demand. We're going to have to expand our markets so that, farmers will have, a steady place that they can go and sell what they're growing.
Everyone around the country is having the same conversation, says Hugh Weathers, the state's longtime agriculture commissioner. Here in South Carolina, Weathers says efforts are ongoing to expand port exports, increase soybean storage, and help farmers by tapping into the state's growing agribusiness fund. He said he's also talking with lawmakers about some initiatives that he says may offer a state-managed temporary safety net, something like a refundable tax credit that can help all farmers, not just soybean farmers. So they
don't throw the towel in until the cycle comes out and gets out of this bad economic cycle. How long will that be? Depends on a lot of things beyond farmers' control.
Weathers knows farm aid bills can be tricky in the State House. His message to farmers right now: not a day goes by that he and other state leaders, he says, do not
have their future in mind.
Back in Allendale, Rachel Sharp says farmers are anxious. The Sharps have themselves made cuts in some places, and they are looking for other ways to earn revenue. They know farmers who are no longer farming this year, unable to stay afloat. One farmer, she says, tragically took their own life. So why are farmers like her still doing the work?
It's just, I don't know. I like seeing stuff grow. I like the fresh air. I like being able to see the stars. That's what I tell people all the time.
Plus, she asks, who else is going to feed America?
You can find that report and more at southcarolinapublicradio.org. Next up, more air travel concerns. That's right, the drama surrounding Congresswoman and gubernatorial candidate Nancy Mace's tirade over a miscommunication involving a security detail at Charleston International Airport continued into this week, with Mace escalating the incident by announcing that she will be suing the airport and American Airlines. This stems from Mace's October 30th arrival at the airport shortly before 7 a.m., but with no security detail awaiting her at the curb as requested and shown on CCTV. The Congresswoman, who says she receives death threats regularly, was frustrated about this and made it well known to the officers how incompetent she thought they were. Airport officers say in their reports that they were waiting for Mace at a different location and that it was a miscommunication as they didn't see her being dropped off. They were there quickly at the TSA checkpoint to escort her through the airport and to her gate. Now, police reports note that the Congresswoman loudly complained using vulgar language on the phone while being escorted to her gate, at one point saying Senator Tim Scott would not be treated in such a way. It should be known that Tim Scott and Senator Lindsey Graham both came out in support of the airport and law enforcement after all this. Now, one Charleston County Aviation Authority police officer said in his incident report that any other person in the airport acting and talking the way she did, our department would have been dispatched and we would have addressed the behavior. Mace has refused to apologize, despite calls from rival campaigns, and Larry Klayman, founder of Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch, announced Wednesday that he will represent Mace in a legal action against American Airlines and Charleston International Airport, following allegations that both entities falsified multiple incident reports involving the Congresswoman. Mace alleges an American Airlines employee and multiple airport employees conspired and coordinated to create false and misleading airport incident reports that intentionally mischaracterize events and damaged her reputation. Klayman also says that the Congresswoman maintains that these fabricated reports, widely published, constitute defamation per se, defamation by implication, and defamation generally, violations of her civil rights, and tortuous interference in her upcoming campaign for governor. So a defamation conspiracy to interfere with her gubernatorial campaign, and also let it be known that if you ever try to file a defamation suit, a libel suit, slander suit against a public official, it's incredibly difficult to prove. So we will see this as it goes forward. Meanwhile, 60-plus low-country elected officials, I'm talking about city, county, state lawmakers, and law enforcement, signed a letter in support of the airport and law enforcement in a strong rebuke to Mace. I mean, we're talking about this is not just Democrat and Republican officials, but also included House Freedom Caucus Chairman Jordan Pace. So this is like tripartisan, if you will. I don't think you don't really see this. This is very rare. File under very rare. How would you like your steak? Very rare. In fact, the letter said in part, quote, "It is important that we recognize and respect the essential role these individuals play in safeguarding the traveling public. The Low Country has always prided itself on civility, respect, and gratitude for public service. We believe those who serve at Charleston International exemplify these values daily," quote. And in more Mace news, a Kershaw County resident, Will Galloway, filed a complaint with the South Carolina State Ethics Commission alleging violations of state ethics and campaign finance laws. Galloway alleges Mace used taxpayer-funded congressional staff and resources to support her gubernatorial campaign and the conversion of federal campaign resources, including email lists and paid MailChimp account access for the benefit of her gubernatorial campaign. Galloway alleges Mace's taxpayer-funded Congressional Communications Director Sidney Long used official time and resources to solicit political support for Mace's gubernatorial bid just days before her campaign launch on August 4th. That's a no-no. The complaint alleges these actions constitute an unlawful in-kind contribution from a federal office to a state campaign. That's a direct violation of state ethics law. The federal complaint also cites evidence that Mace's federal campaign MailChimp account and donor email list were used to promote her gubernatorial event, the, quote, mother of all town halls, quote, held in Myrtle Beach on August 6th. The email distributed from her congressional campaign's digital infrastructure and bearing the disclaimer paid for by Nancy Mace for Congress invited recipients to a gubernatorial campaign event and outlined her platform for state office. You guys see that? Congress gubernatorial?
Yes.
Not paid for by Nancy Mace for governor, but paid for by Nancy Mace for Congress. So no, guys. Now, these again are allegations made in a complaint by Kershaw County resident Will Galloway to the State Ethics Commission, which does not comment on complaints, though if the commission does find probable cause of a violation following its investigation, a public hearing will be called. Galloway provided me a photo showing a copy of his complaint stamped received by the Ethics Commission, so they have it. Congresswoman Mace, in an email to me, said, quote, "This complaint contains a number of erroneous statements. First of all, the staffer in question was on approved leave July 29th. This is standard operating procedure within a congressional office. Second, as is also standard practice, when a candidate switches from a federal to state campaign or vice versa, there are very specific rules on data usage and meticulously follow all ethics rules." All caps there. Mace continues by saying, "Our opponents are dumber than they look. They did this on the day I announced a lawsuit against American Airlines and the airport and named my opponent Alan Wilson as part of the coordinated effort to defame me. They will not slow us down." All caps. "Targeting my employees is unforgivable and puts their lives in danger, and I will protect them at all costs. As a reminder, the establishment is coming after me because I'm standing up for you." Quote. Very Trumpian language, very Trump-like 2024 campaign language right there as this episode continues. Welcome to the wind down section, our little break from the news. A.T. Charlene, podcast producers, here with me. Hello, A.T.
Hello, Gavin. I love how low you got on that one.
Yeah,
Yes.
gotta get nice. You gotta
Putting the low and hello over
you gotta
here.
whisper for the people that are listening on their phones.
Yeah.
I wear headphones around all day, every day. I can hear what you're talking about.
Gavin hears all, okay?
I don't take my headphones off.
No, he's always got a headphone and a boom mic, a shotgun mic pointed all over the place. Yeah.
I'm constantly recording.
Anyway, Gavin.
So try and defame me, I dare you.
It is recorded at all times, yeah. Gavin, we got a call number 3 from Grenada, if you're ready to get into it.
Take me away.
Okay, here we go.
Hello, this is Abby Morris. I'm in Grenada. I'm on my sailboat, sailing vessel Time. And it's a kind of a very sad time, scary time to be out of the country and see what's going on in my country. And I'm very concerned over this government shutdown and the SNAP program being not funded, and even appears that maybe they don't even want to refund it. Our children need to be fed, our people need to be fed, and we need to treat everybody with loving, kind care. And with that, last call today, and you have a good week. I'm busy washing clothes in my wash bucket because I am kind of in a third world country, and I'll look forward to listening to your next program. Like I said, have a good week. Bye.
Captain Abby calling us from the boat in Grenada. Thank you so much. Love having 3 calls from you. Grenada versus Grenada, AT.
Grenade, hand grenade. It's not a hand grenade, right?
Oh, no, where's my hand grenade? Actually, I think depending on what part of the...
bring in the hand grenade.
No, it's like the Dijon. It's too much. No, I don't think so. Yeah, Grenada in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Whereas Grenada is over near Spain, if you guys know where Spain is.
Oh, they're really 2 different places?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Grenada, yeah. That's what I was actually, I know this, well, I came across this recently because I was looking at airfares because I'm like, I want to go on a trip.
Yeah.
I'm not going on a trip anytime soon, but I want to go to Japan.
Of course, you're always thinking about, well, you're a guy of a certain age, you want to go to Japan. I mean, I want to go to Japan.
I know. I'm about to be 40.
I really want
to be 40 next year,
I'd love to go to Japan, yeah.
And I'm just like maxing out all the miles I can get on my American Airlines card because I'm like, I need a trip. I'm like 100,000 miles. I'm like, I need to pay for it with just miles. So we'll see.
That's such an old guy. You're getting to 40 and now you got
baby.
these goals. I
Welcome.
want to use these miles, baby.
Well, I think for the longest time, me and my twin brother Colin, who I don't speak of often on this podcast.
We don't like, it's too close.
He's trying to get this from, he's trying to wrest this from me. We've always been talking about like doing a big international trip or something like that. So we'll see.
Japan would be awesome.
It would be cool. But I hate going during like the busy times. So we're talking about summer. Which is when my birthday is. So,
Yeah.
But then it's also tricky because it's a campaign, big election year too. So you can't really do spring. So you see how much I give. to this podcast.
It's so
and
much.
to the people.
It's scary sometimes.
Sorry, Mr. Jackson will not be taking any vacation until the people of South Carolina know who their leaders are.
Gavin has office hours, folks, okay? they're posted very
and
clearly.
you know they are 24/7, 365.
Thank you, Gavin. Well, Gavin, this wind down, I bring a dire warning.
Oh,
okay?
God.
Okay, a dire warning, all right? Okay, we clearly know that Creed is back, okay?
Yeah. Critical warning.
We know that 90s fashion has come back, right? To speak of the Fashion Council, if I am so allowed.
It might almost be over, but I hope
I think it is almost over, and that is what I'm talking about, okay? Emo has sort of come back, too, okay? I have heard rumblings of Florence and the Machine recently. I've heard rumblings of people going to see Rilo Kiley again, okay? And that's all fine. I'm glad. It's well and good. If you like that music, that is fine.
I mean, I've always liked Florence.
That's fine. And I have no beef with Florence and the
Does she
Machine.
have a new album?
She does.
Or am I thinking of Lily Allen?
No, she has a new album, and that's why she's been on all the late nights and NPR and everything.
She's amazing.
That's fine. But I'm talking about what this means, okay?
Oh.
If they're back, do you know what's next? And we have to I'm trying to get in front of this. And we cannot allow this to happen, people. They are not cool. It was never cool.
Let me guess. Stomp, clap, hey?
Stomp, clap, hey music. We cannot allow it to come back. The Mumford and Sons need to stay away.
Hey!
That stuff was terrible. It can never be cool again. We are not allowed that.
Well, the whole reason, and let's just dive into the anthropology of this here, folks, before you start
Gavin
appropriating
is a man
our
of
culture.
science. Yeah, this is peak millennial influence.
This is what the kids need to learn about from their elders, us. Is that the reason the stomp, clap, hey, and all that, like, the suspenders is what I'm definitely thinking about. The onset of this wave of facial hair that we've been experiencing for decades
You're
now.
dressing like an Amish person on Rumspringa.
The lumberjack look, it was all because of, wait for it, the Great Recession, right? No one could afford new razor blades.
So we're dressing like it's the Dust
No one could afford their
Bowl.
hair, so they're going Dust Bowl.
Dust Bowl chic.
Ask any millennial to see their wedding album of like their barnyard wedding, their barn wedding, and the string lights and sign that says "eat," like whatever you want to say, like it's all there, folks.
Oh my God!
But that was all because of the Great Recession, and no one can spend money. No one had
you don't want to
jobs.
You don't want to see Lumineers at the top of the charts.
Everyone was pretty depressed, you know, and then you're working jobs that you don't have. Like that's when gig work really blew up. Oh yeah, maybe if I have 3 different jobs doing random things, I'll make enough money of a full-time job.
Awful.
So all that was inspiring those looks and those sounds, and I think this generation. I mean, maybe I'm not wishing for a recession, but Lord, this generation needs something to like give them some meaning when it comes to like defining moments of their era. And I mean, everything's really just kind of been like reheated like a millennial stuff. But,
let's not reheat this one. Okay? I'm coming out very strong against the stomp clap hey, okay? That music is very bad. Banjos have no place in popular music.
I mean, I'm indifferent to it. It's nostalgia for me.
It's so bad.
But that's not the emo songs. Those aren't emo.
That's not emo. I'm saying emo is back already.
Okay,
like,
so that's right. You're saying this is the next wave.
This is the next one. If we're hearing about Rilo Kiley,
start making your
next is Lumineers.
Start knitting again, folks.
Those are terrible things, folks. Shield your children from it. I know that I Am Rena cannot hear these cursed tones, all right?
She comes, next time you see her, she has like velvet corduroy cropped overalls on. And you're like, she has just glasses and bangs and it's like a wolf cut. And you're like,
what were you listening to? What were you listening to? Tegan and Sarah? Absolutely not!
I just got into Mom's old records. Caitlin,
no! She's listening to Say Is In. No!
I want to go to school in Northeast Ohio like Uncle Gavin did.
No! Rena!
Honey!
Anyway, Gavin.
And I'm like, yeah, baby.
yeah, right.
Hey!
I'll let you a letter of recommendation.
How?
Okay, Gavin, that's enough for today.
This
Say
could be
bye-bye.
That's a whole separate pod. Captain Abby, thank you for calling. Give us a shout like she did at 803-563-7169. We love hearing from you guys wherever you are in the world. And you can always leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts from. Stay up to date with the latest news at SCETV.org and SouthCarolinaPublicRadio.org, and don't forget to support your local newspapers. The South Carolina Lede is a production of South Carolina Public Radio. Our producer is A.T. Shire. Amy Crouch is our supervising producer. Sean Birch is our executive producer. This podcast is produced with support from PRX and is made possible in part by a grant from the John S. and James L. Knight Foundation, as well as listener contributions to the ETV Endowment of South Carolina. For the South Carolina Lede, I'm Gavin Jackson. Be well, South Carolina.
I think that you are right in that you can qualify a cruise as in-school suspension on the water.
Just different scenery. It's also a mall.